And welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. Singer, songwriter, and worship leader Chuck Girard is the author of the book Rock and Roll Preacher. It's a memoir chronicling his life and his ministry. He's also a pioneer in contemporary Christian music and the founder of the band Love Song. Well, he joins us now with more on his book and his life. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get to the book, there is word of a new documentary on the first Christian rock band you co-founded called Love Song. What can you tell us and what can we expect from the documentary?
Well, actually, it's really going to be excellent. It's basically our band's story, but it covers some of the subject matter that was covered in the movie Jesus Revolution, and there's a lot of renewed interest because of that movie. It's called A Band Called Love Song, and it's coming out. We don't have an actual release date yet. We're in legal right now, trying to clear everything, and as soon as we get that done, she'll be good to go. So we'll keep an announcement coming on that when that's available.
And looking forward to that. Let's get now to the memoir. You're rather transparent about your life and your ministry without giving too much away. What are some things you had to endure to get where you are today?
Well, I had the same ups and downs everybody does as a Christian. We were very blessed that our band was raised up very quickly, but that also had a negative side because we were baby Christians in a great position of influence and authority. We were only together for about 3 years, and then we disbanded. And then when I went solo, I had some problems crop up in my own life that we deal with in the book. I wrestled with alcohol addiction as a Christian, but we didn't want to make the book about alcohol addiction. So I did cover it in a subchapter toward the end, but we didn't want to weave it in through the narrative because basically the whole story is a very positive, victorious story. Mm-hmm. And we all have our problems in the context of our Christian walk, but I did not also want to shy away from it. So I think there's some very useful things, information in there for people that might be going through their own struggle with alcohol addiction. But it covers just a lot of stuff that people are interested in right now, and I think they'd enjoy the book a lot.
Take us back to the moment that you came to know Christ for yourself.
It was a group of myself and about 6 or 7 like-minded other guys who were basically also musicians. I didn't want what I landed on to be Christian. I had hoped maybe I'd find God up on a mountainside with a guru somewhere, Mm-hmm. But I thought, if I'm going to be open-minded, I have to check this out. So I went up to Calvary one night on my own. Some of the guys had gone up, in different couple of them at a time, whatever. And God met me on the back row there. I sat on the back row so I could make my escape if I needed to, because I wasn't sure but it was Chuck Smith that night. I was looking for Lonnie Frisbee, the hippie preacher, but Chuck was the one preaching, but God didn't care. And he just really moved my heart. And I'll tell you what was interesting. The first thing that I connected with was the music, which I was kind of a musical snob. I like Pink Floyd and those kind of bands. And here I was being deeply moved by these kind of substandard folk songs that were being sung by these hippie kids. And I couldn't figure out why am I so moved by these songs. And I didn't know anything about the anointing at that time, but God used the music and the preaching to some degree and met me on that back row of Calvary Chapel when there was only one. And I didn't go to the front that night, but I made a commitment to God that this seemed right, and I'd be there for the duration until he told me different.
Now, you have a new studio album coming out called Moonrise Serenade, correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you for mentioning it. It's my first studio album in 30 years. I've had a couple of worship CDs out in the meantime, Voice of the Wind and Evening Shadows, but this is the first time I've got a bunch of musicians together in the studio again in 30 years, and very excited about it. It's a kind of a combination of old songs, new songs. It could be, look, I'm 80 years old. Who knows if I'm going to make another album? So, it's just sort of getting it all on. It's going to be very packed. It's going to have 17 songs on it, and pretty excited about it coming out.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate you joining us. And for more on Chuck's book, Rock and Roll Preacher, simply go to the website, chuckgirard.com. Stay with us. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. We'll be right back.